Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Grampy here again. Um, I've been thinking about for quite a number of couple months now, a few months now, on the topic of spiritual leadership. And um, as I considered, what all that means, um, very quickly, three particular passages came to mind. And it's not so much in the kind of in the vein of like the qualifications for an elder or a deacon or something like that, where we have specific passages with kind of lay out specific qualifications for people that would aspire to that office or who would be committed to hold that office. But more it would be like the qualities that identify the character and nature of leadership itself. So they go together, and any specific qualification that would be part of someone who's aspiring to leadership or being considered to be to have that kind of leadership conferred upon them. Would already really be functioning in a lot of those, the essence of those qualifications. But I'm not going to talk about them. So today, though, I'm going to break this down, this spiritual leadership thing into three different smaller little messages, okay? So today I'm just going to be in Isaiah chapter 40, verses 10 and 11. Because this has been, especially as I think about what leadership in the home means, this is where these two verses first really became real to me. And here they are, Isaiah 40, verses 10 and 11. It says, "Behold, the Lord God will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arm and carry them in his bosom, and shall gently lead those that are with young." So I know I'm snatching two verses out of a flowing context here, but what I really like about them is the qualities of God that are highlighted in them, because it is speaking about very specific qualities that relate to the God who Isaiah is lifting up before the people. So the first image that we see here is the warrior God. He's coming with a strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. So this is God on the move, God in justice, and God in power. The demonstration and the wielding of power. Particularly, I would say, it is regard to the defending nature of our warrior God on behalf of his people. And this is, if you would say, is God on the side of highlighting justice. Let's just say justice and power. And this is an essential quality of what it means to lead. Particularly, one way we could think of it is this would be more perhaps on the masculine spectrum of God's nature, and the evidence of his qualities that we see expressed in man versus womanhood. So masculine versus feminine, but that's not an exclusive thing. And just to qualify that, there is no worse thing than to encounter a mother bear robbed of her cubs, right? So women can fight too, but it's just a general expression of God as warrior fighter, okay? But however, we see then in verse 11, God as nurturer. It says, "He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arm and carry them in his bosom, and shall gently lead those that are with young." So we essentially see this now more of a gentle, nurturing expression of the nature and character of God, which we might say is the more feminine side. However, again, the nature of tenderness is And whether it's, whether it's expressed in a man or in a woman, is an expression of something that finds its origin in God. So whether we're talking about God as warrior, God as, the just defender, or we're talking about God the gentle shepherd, we're talking about distinct expressions of things that are found in God's nature that also find their expression with us. Okay, so the point that I would really like to bring out is that leadership involves both these essential elements. A leader must be strong and lead. He must be dependable when it comes to defending those that are weak. He must be willing to take the risks and be the point man in standing for justice and defending those who are weak. He's got to have a strong sense and a conviction about what is true. He's got to be committed to doing what is right, being a person of truth, and being willing to be just. And that goes beyond being fair. It means aligning ourselves with what is right according to what God judges. And therein is the key. The true leader has to have his own sense of rightness defined by God. So a leader needs to be strong, but a leader needs to be gentle too. And John Lovell has kind of captured this in the idea of the warrior poet, and he's not the one who actually created the idea of the warrior poet, but he's kind of taken that on as his own, the defining essence of his ministry and his work. John Eldredge cites the fact that I forget which of the ancient warriors that said that they would say something like, "Don't ever give a sword to a man who can't dance." And it's the idea that a warrior needs to be more than just a warrior, right? A warrior needs to have a side of him that is tender and gentle and appreciates the finer things in life, or else he's at risk of becoming a brute. But at the same time, if a man or a leader is not willing to take the risks and take the heat, to take the blows, then he's not functioning in the fullness of what a leader means to be. So, anyways, to husbands, I just want to speak for a second here. Husbands need to be strong leaders. We need to have an idea of what God is calling us as husbands and fathers to be, where he's calling us to be. We have to have a sense of the destination that we're headed toward. And we've got to be willing to forge the way, take the heat, do the hard part, and be the kind of person that who leads for the benefit of those that he's called to lead. It's not about doing what's comfortable for him. It's not about being right in the final analysis, because we can see at the essence of truly being a person who's willing to fight is for those that are entrusted to their care. And those that are entrusted to their care are not the ones who feel the weight of his terrible swift sword, right? Those that are being led by the true leader feels and sees is a gentleness, a tenderness. In fact, it says that he gathers his lambs in his arms, carries them in his bosom, and shall gently lead those that are with young. Now, who's the last group there he's talking about? Those leading gently those that are with young. He's talking about the mamas. The first part of that verse 11 there is talking about the lambs, the little ones, the children, right? Whether it's their children in his own home or the young and vulnerable in the faith, right? It's the children. A leader must be a safe place for little ones, right? But he also needs to be a gentle leader when it comes to the mamas. And I can't overemphasize this enough, guys, because we can sometimes get to where we come to terms with, say, apathy or like, a sense of like that our leadership is lacking, right? And so we're like, oh, I gotta get on this. And so we take up the hard charge and we just forge ahead, and we don't realize that there are people that are trying to lead, but we've kind of left them in the dust and they're not on board. And, they wind up getting lost in our zeal, right? So we need to have a vision. We need to be willing to forge the way. But those whom we're leading must know the gentle side of us. And we must be a safe place for them where they find refuge. And they're not the ones who should be, our leadership to them should not be defined by our terrible swift sword. Okay, so here we go. Verses 10 and 11. I'll just sum it up again, read it, and we'll wrap this one up here. Behold, the Lord God will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arm, and carry them in his bosom, and gently lead those that are with young. Men and women who are called to lead, let us lead with strength and gentleness. Thank you.